We are going to pick up a little less than a week since the last incident detailing Lottie and Gabriel's infiltration into a, let's just say, devil-worshipping cult is, I think, the most polite way to say it. And we're actually going to pick up back in Silkshore with Brolin, who, at this point, I am so sorry that we're going to start off on this note.
Oh no.
Is going to take immediate level 2 harm.
Oh.
Beat down. We'll just say beat down.
Okay. Where am I losing dice? Prowess, I guess.
Yeah, prowess would be the most appropriate. As these two goons finish working Brolin over, they rifle through your pockets and they take anything that isn't nailed down, essentially.
Joke's on you, I don't have any coin.
Except for the coin that was probably spent on the lady at the end of the alley that is the reason you're in this predicament, so to speak. It isn't too long. Yeah, it isn't too long after this beatdown. They leave. Brolin is somewhat in the mode of must recover, recover my dignity a little bit. It's at this point that Gabriel shows up. Now, this is an important moment. Brolin, to the best of your knowledge, Gabriel should be in Crow's Foot. There's no reason for him to be in Silkshore at this time. So seeing him here is somewhat a surprise.
Also, sort of seeing him, like, at least two eyes kind of like welted shut.
Gabriel comes over to you and offers the hand.
Appreciate it.
Oh, you know me, always here to help. Also, I heard on the winds that you were getting your ass handed to you, so I had to come and watch.
No, not at all. This is my new look.
Let's get you back to the apartment, though. Maybe then you can fill in why all of a sudden you're looking out of the two eyes on the side of your head rather than the two eyes in front of your head.
Nothing. I don't really see anything that clearly. I sort of see movement more. It's, yeah, not ideal. And putting an arm over Brolin, over Gabriel, sort of getting Gabriel's arm over Brolin, gonna basically limp back as.
Takes longer than usual with an injured person. No. You're not sure why no cab was called? Maybe Gabriel is just relishing in the chance of causing more physical pain here? Not entirely sure. However, Lottie, where are you at currently? At the apartment, or?
Go back to the family house. Recently, she doesn't like to leave her grandmother and her cousin too long on their own, so yeah, she trying to reconcile with them.
Your grandmother is being quite belligerent, as usual. Reconciling with her is a little bit more difficult than your cousin. However, make me a roll. This is specifically for your grandmother. Reconciling.
Would be something like a tune, maybe, or consort.
Consort, I could see more than a tune.
Yeah.
Your grandma relents a little bit. She kind of sighs. I still think you're gonna get yourself hurt, but like I feel like throwing you out is just going to cause more of an issue than anything else. It would just exacerbate the problem.
Maybe.
Kind of sighs and she's in her typical rocking chair, rocking back and forth as she kind of looks at you with what you can only call a measure of confused disappointment, as she's not able to dissuade you from your course of actions here. So, she kind of looks over at you. What's for dinner?
Bread from yesterday, but still good, and cake. So eggs and there's leftovers of potatoes. I'm gonna check the kitchen and come back.
With whatever you can make out of the
Yeah.
what most people here probably would consider what's left in the back of the refrigerator.
Exactly.
I mean, compared to some of the places you've been recently, this sort of passes for food.
Absolutely.
You've been welcomed into a couple of the finest establishments in Duskfall here of late, so it might not necessarily be to your current taste, but it's what you have. It's at this point that a knock on your door is heard.
Quickly checking if my grandmother isn't looking, and I'm gonna peek at the door.
It is a little boy, roughly about 10 years old. Little, the mail carrier type hat. And it goes, I have a message for Miss Lottie Alfort.
Hey. Yes, it's me.
And then he kind of, he pulls out a little piece of paper and hands it up to you.
Okay.
He waits around a little bit, seeing if he's gonna get a tip or anything.
Do you want something to eat, maybe?
No, thank you. Have a nice day. Once he kind of realizes no coin is forthcoming, and he turns around and leaves.
Just going to close quickly the door and read the piece of paper where I stand.
It's a very short message. It's essentially what you would assume to get from a text message in the modern day and age. Brolin injured. Has quite a tale to tell. Meet us back in Crow's Foot. You know the place. G.
Things good. I'm finished to prepare the meal, and you know what? I'm not really hungry. I'm gonna go to sleep early and see you tomorrow. And go back in my room and come at the window again.
That window is going to get a lot of use.
Yes.
By the time you have arrived at the apartment, you've already got the key, so there's no reason to just knock and wait for anybody to let you in. Upon entering, you see Brolin kind of sprawled out on a chair, nursing a rather blackened face.
It's also looking at you, kind of this weird, like, head swaying. Can't quite focus with the other eyes.
Oh my. What happened to you? Who did this?
Call them friends of someone I assume to be a friend.
Gabriel has this weird smirk across his face, like, that's not entirely accurate, but I'm not gonna ruin Brolin's day even further, is essentially what the smile's saying.
So it's just essentially a standard Silkshore affair. There's certain people there, then they have acquaintances waiting, and they'll work you over, empty your pockets of whatever's of any value. So, I don't know who they run with, I don't know who they are, I'm just... I guess this is... just one of the many risks we take.
You do remember one specific gentleman, though. Somewhat scruffy beard, older-looking gentleman, a long, very large, red, or I shouldn't say red scarf because that gives off the wrong motif. We'll go with green scarf here and a bowler hat.
So, I will describe him, and the only one I got to look at before after that, it's just movement and a lot of kicking.
It's at this point that we're gonna pull over and... For some reason, I'll have to cut this out because for some reason... that's why. Nope. For some reason the camera's not working today. Have to refresh it. Cornelius.
Hello. Sorry, I was late.
Perfectly fine. What are you doing this fine evening?
I've seen that I stand a bit too much out when I'm in the poorer area neighborhoods. Gospel. Therefore, I'm trying to learn how to not stand that much out in a crowd. I'm completely failing at that. But I'm trying.
It isn't too long until a girl roughly about 7 years old comes up to you. Sir?
Yes.
She looks probably to be a child of the streets. Very young, obviously. A little bit dirty as well. Are you... And she looks at a little piece of paper. Omen? I was told that, you'd be really, really fancy looking. And, well, you look really fancy.
I am.
Oh.
Young one, I am.
She hands a little note to you as well.
I take the note and I also quickly check that it's actually a note from someone. Then I'll give a few coins. Let's say, in high society, it's always good to give compliments, even if you don't believe them. So, good for you, good on you. It's a good for us to raise to better areas of the city.
She smiles with the tip that you've given her, and she takes off, kind of skipping a little bit. This note is not the same note that was given to Lottie, just to get that out of the way as you look over this note. This note, while still from somebody initialed G, this note specifically details the events of what happened in a little bit less than a week ago. This G person asks you to meet at the usual place in Crowsfoot, but it mostly details the devil-worshipping cult that was dealt with, and it seems to basically the note's like, guy we worked over, dead in street, devil cult involved. Meet at the usual location in Crowsfoot, G.
I am not running only because running would dirty my clothes and is inappropriate for a nobleman. But I'm really interested in this devil thing.
It's heading straight there?
Yeah. Probably in a few minutes before getting there, realizing that maybe I shouldn't be so alert with where I'm going. So do a really bad job and losing anyone who could be behind me and then get in.
Go ahead and give me a roll for that.
Yes. Do I have something? I don't think I have anything that I can use for it.
If you don't have any dice, that's 2 and take the lowest, essentially.
Yeah, I will push myself. If Roll20 decides to work with me, I'll push myself.
Okay.
If it doesn't...
Don't be too stressed.
Can someone roll one die for me? Because I probably have to close and reopen it.
What are you rolling? Finesse or prowl?
Actually, no, finesse, I have a die. It just... Yeah, finesse, I have a die. So no, I have a die. I will not need to... I will still push myself, so I roll 2 die.
Okay.
For finesse, yes.
I can do that for you.
Thank you.
Despite yourself not thinking that you're decent at this type of stuff, if there was any tale, they certainly can't find you now, to the best of your knowledge. As you reach the apartment, the door is somewhat ajar, and you do hear speaking within the room. It does seem to be a rather more subdued conversation.
I will. Are they voices that I recognize, or are they people I do not know?
You certainly would recognize Lottie's voice, and whether or not you would recognize Gabriel or Brolin's voice, that's a little bit more questionable just because you don't know them all that well.
Yeah. I've heard voices, the voices, so I believe I know who it's in. Not sure, but I will go in anyway. Good evening. Looking at whoever is inside.
Brolin twists his head, very clearly trying to see you better. You can tell Brolin's in a little bit of rough shape. Ah, good, you made it, Omen. Wonderful. I am sure that you're wondering more about that note I sent you as well. Unfortunately, he kind of gestures over at Brolin. This has come up in the meantime.
What do you think? Be honest. Can I pull it off? Absolutely beaten to a pulp.
You clearly had a less enjoyable night than I had whenever all of this happened.
Oh, no, and trust me, it was absolutely wonderful until about Hour of Pearls, and then it all went a little bit sideways.
If you say so.
Gabriel kind of smirks. Well, just so I'm a man of my word here. So, Lottie, would you like to fill Omen in on what happened the other night?
Oh, yeah, sure. And she repeats to Omen what has been told just before, and gives him the description of the man, even if there's little chance you will know who it is.
Never seen the man you describe.
You have?
Never have.
Oh.
And Gabriel kind of sighs, too much to hope. But I'm sorry, Lottie. I was not exceedingly clear on what I meant. I was talking about our escapades the other day. I had actually called Omen here to discuss that, and then this happened. He points over.
Oh, that one. Well, Omen, do you want tea? Gonna be a long one.
I go into really interested mode. Notebook out.
Gabriel, during this time, goes over and pats Brolin on the shoulders like, don't worry, we'll come back to you. It's okay.
But the coincidence is, let me know when you're ready.
You remember that awful man? We took you made a fake amulet, not a fake one, but not the one he wanted. He was terrified by demons and evil spirit and stuff, and we took his money, his chairs, and he supposedly ran out of the town. You remember that guy, right?
Yes,
What
the
he said?
one which you shot him.
No, I shot him, and she points.
Yeah, I point this.
This one, the one I took his pants, whatever. He's dead. Like, brutally murdered a few days ago, and it turned out he was killed by the cult of the demons he was running from. So me and Gabriel, we want to investigate to be sure we wouldn't be the next target. You know, you can never be too cautious with this kind of thing. And let's just say it went interestingly. I'm trying to go through my notes. It seems that they are going after former people we have robbed. This one man was just one of the targets. And then the windows of the building got exploded, and I'm not sure why.
Gabriel kind of goes, that may have been something that I did upon leaving. They had a rather intricate summoning protection circle thing. I don't know what it is. I'm not necessarily up to the lingo. I may have drug my foot through it on my way out.
Is that bad? And she looks to Omen.
Gabriel has probably the most self-satisfied, cheeky smile you've ever seen on his face.
They were worshipping this guy named Zephyr, if that rings a bell to you.
Does it ring a bell? Can I make a study roll to see if it
Yes.
rings a bell?
The study, it's going to ring a bell regardless. Study would just be how much you actually know from it.
5.
You know a considerable amount. You know specifically he targets those he deems weak. Specifically those that are victims in some manner. Obviously, as a devil, you're not... what he classifies as weak can be somewhat broad. Being a devil. There's also, you would also know that this isn't the first time that there's been a rash of deaths because of this specific devil. It does seem like there's a pattern to it, but not anything concrete. I would also like to take a moment here and to address the other GM. Was there anything else in that library that I did not pass on? Because he would essentially have access to anything that was in that library.
Yeah, I'd say you covered most of it. A lot of it is historical and out of living memory, so it's more records than common public knowledge.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah. A woman puts back him for a moment in the notebook, and enter is Professor Moid. So, well, you see, Zephyr is a creature who, as many of his kind, hunts and preys on mortals, for their logic and reasoning is beyond our understanding, and why they hunt is beyond us. We know, however, that he does always hunt weak, or those who have been victim of any kind. He has done it multiple times in the past, and blah blah blah. And unless they stop him, I go on. I give the same information, but I go on and on and on and on and on, and everything I know. So it's up to you to stop me, because otherwise you're going to get a lecture.
Lottie turns to Gabriel and is like, where was he 1 week ago? Where we did that?
Gabriel kind of gives you the exact same look, like this would have been so much easier if he would have just been here. However, Gabriel's not going to stop, but he is gonna kind of lean down and go, "Isn't this super fascinating, Brolin?" And he's got this weird smile on his face.
Absolutely.
Sorry, you're right. We should probably get back to you. Omen, please.
Yes, sorry. We'll continue this lesson another time, and you know I mean it. You can easily understand. I will continue this lesson another day.
So, I do feel like, well, that is certainly something that needs to be on our radar. I feel like maybe, now, I wouldn't call Brolin a close friend, but he is a co-worker that shouldn't have to deal with having his nose 4 inches away from where it was originally. And if these people are running that kind of racket, so to speak, I can't help but to feel that there's going to be a lot of coin that is to be had here.
Yeah, they could learn how to better choose the target, yes?
Most certainly. I've got a couple of things I need to look after, though. Myself. And with that, he doesn't even give a goodbye. He just walks out.
Always a pleasure.
Good night.
Some will get used to that. So, question for Games Master. Whereabouts did this happen in Silkshore?
Absolutely. Okay, so let me get my Silkshore map up. Ooh. Oh, I did not mean to move the map. Don't you hate it when you move the map? Okay, there we go.
Good.
This actually happens somewhat brazenly close to the Silkshore precinct. Between the best way to I'm just gonna give you the 2 bridge names.
Mm-hmm.
Bridge of the Veil and Bridge of the Moon. So on that on that center island, right next to the island with the Silkshore precinct. For those of you that, there we go. So roughly, it's not letting me ping the map today.
No worries, I've got it.
Yeah.
So if they're running this operation, they probably have been for some time. Options are, one, that I'm already burned, they know my face, and if I suddenly show up again, alarm bells are going to start ringing. However, nothing to say that we can't just jump on in and take what's theirs.
What my fear is if they deal with these devils and demons, how much do they know? How much they defend themselves? Are they slaves?
Different lot.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Then I misunderstood that.
No, this is just as far as I know, just a group of thugs.
Well,
so that's out of character.
Yeah, no.
Did they had any signs that could make them akin them to a gang or make them easily recognizable? I don't have the word.
Any signs of that? A gang, like any of the big boy affiliations?
Not that you would be aware of.
No sashes, no blue and white stripes, nothing that's going to immediately denote that they're running with any of those that we should actually be a little bit wary of. Certainly not crows, they don't leave this place.
With that being said, how would a people like to go about getting information, as these guys are probably small-timers and there's not going to be any immediate alarm bells going off. It's not like, oh, he has a red sash. Let's go to the Red Sash Academy.
Also, we probably die. I mean, I've got an idea of how to instigate it. And Omen, I am going to give you the best 3 hours of your life, and then possibly the worst 20 minutes.
Okay.
Oh no.
Well, that's how we draw them out. But what I'm thinking is that we go for a turf score.
Everybody's immediately like, what? What is that?
Yeah, exactly. Opening the books.
It's a crew score, and when you acquire turf, it lowers the necessary rep you need to rank up. But it also starts the roadmap that you can start acquiring other assets for your crew.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then.
Interesting, yes.
Which generally means that we're going to have a fight. Lottie's just flexing. Bring it.
Time to call upon the ghosts.
Trying to shoot people for real, not just blank bullets.
Bring friends to the party.
So, with that, since it seems like you guys are ready to jump in to the score, so to speak.
You have just finished listening to this week's episode of Blades in the Dark, What Happens in the Dusk, part of the Domain Gaming, written and told by Wyverian and LifeSpark. A special thanks to you, the listener, and if you wish to continue supporting us, subscribe, like, and share. As always, comments are welcome. Until the next chapter, remember the first rule of a con. Offer them everything for nothing, and give them nothing for everything.